Shalom, welcome to another Kabbalah Academy Crown Jewel word analysis. Words today, I should say. We have a plurality of words, and I was inspired by the verse in Job. I'll just read it. It's of course in the Tanakh, okay, Writings of the Sages, and it's in chapter 12, verse 10. That in his hand is the soul of every living thing and the spirit of all mankind. So, words are mentioned here, such as nefesh, ruach, ish, basar, which are soul, spirit, man, and flesh, right? So I want to look at the words. Okay, so we have the words human, which is hey for the H, the Waf for the U, Mem for the M, Aleph for the A, and a Nun for the N. And first of all, we see who. Who usually is written with an Aleph, that's Hebrew for he, but the pronunciation is who, so it's who, man, right? He, man. Okay, so that jumps out immediately. Then man has a value of 28. 28 in the ordinal, because the nun would be a 14, a 1, 15, and 13 is 28, which is yad times 2. 2 hands, right hand, left hand. Chesed gevura. That's precise. The Gematria value of the total here is Eloheinu. That's a sign because you'll see it as we go through body, spirit, soul. You'll see Elohim, which was mentioned also in Job, which is a created thing that created us, okay? So that's why you'll find Elohim in here in many occasions. So we have Uman, and Uman means craftsman, and not in the sense like Betzalel, but more like to till the ground, right? No, Ein Adam was found to till the ground. We'll expound on that, what it truly means. Now, the ordinal value is tal, which is do, and the do can nourish, but it can punish. 39 is a couple of things, but first of all, it's the amount of letters of all the Sefirot written out, Keter, Chochma, Bina. So if you count the amount of letters, that's 39, but it's also the amount of letters in the 72, 63, 45, and 52 letter name. Okay? So, tal can be 39 whiplashes. It can also be nourishing, right? So it can go in two ways. Till the ground, Uman, no man was found. Okay, so then we have a couple permutation. Aleph, Nun, one soul, because Nun means soul. Ma is reality, has a value of 45, equals Adam. The kaf is also to carry, so one that carries Adam or Ma through Zerampin. The Waf is Zerampin, right? Zerampin. And Zerampin are these 6 working upon the 7th. We'll get there in a little bit from now. Zohar Emo 31 says that a man is a tree, right? But men, real men, Kabbalists, they spell the 45 name in Zerampin. That's why 45 times 6 is 270. You receive soul level, Chai, which is 18, 270 plus 18 is 288, which is the value of Ibur, pregnancy, which is part of the rectification of the fallen sparks, right? 288, but that's a whole other study. I have to say that these words, the Western world words, human, spirit, soul, they are very, we have limited words. That's what I want to say. We have limited words because in Hebrew, due to the Torah and the spiritual level, we speak of 5 soul levels, each having 5 sub-soul levels. So nefesh of nefesh, ruach of nefesh, so on and so forth. Nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida, each having 5 in it, sub-levels. Over 5 worlds also. So the Western languages are very limited, and that's why you'll find mixed information. When we are studied and we have prerequisites, we think nefesh is only one layer, but when you look at the nefesh, the word soul in English, it covers a more wider aspect because they're limited in their amounts of words. So that being said, the same with men, because we have Adam, Enos, Ish, and so on, Chaber. So yes, English language is limited. Okay. But still, it carries divinity to it, and that's what we're doing here, showing the divine code within everything, because reality is only divinity, and everything which is not divine is created by our nonsense and is not real. So, and that comes from these 6 projecting upon the 7th without connecting to the Yutei or the Rosh, that is. So let's continue. So we had that man carrying the 45, ma, reality. What can I witness to you? What can I liken to you? It's also, you can see then the vav is the rampin, and ma, reality, can be asiya, malchut. So masculine, feminine, becoming one soul to the 50th gate, which is Nun. Nun values 50. Hence at the 50th gate also. Now if we do the milui of Hey, Vav, Mem, Aleph, and Nun, we get a sum total of 316, which is inkolel to Yetzirah. One could say 1 Yetzirah. This is also the mirror image of 613, which is Beyirat or Betorah, in the Torah in all. Okay? Then, interesting, let's do the pregnant letters first, because Zerampin Ruach. Yes, okay. Pregnant letters is all the letters that come after the original. So the word is here, human. So the restitutional letters, you could say, li. 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 40, 48, plus 30, 78, plus 80, 158, plus 6, 164, plus 50, 214. Yes, there you have it. Pregnant letters have a value of ruach, because a human has a ruach. Now, the next value is the final letters, which are just each last letter. And that's 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 40, 47, plus 80, 127, plus 50, 177, which is Gan Eden, from which we were expelled, right? Due to the Gate. Okay, so now maybe we'll treat the body first, and then we'll read some Likkutei Yirah 9. So body is an interesting word because we have the base, which is house, right? You see here a house. And this house is really the gufa, has a rosh also, luckily we have physically still connected to the Rosh. Then you get Zerampin, which is the Vav. You have the Nukva, which is the Dalet. And you have the Yud, which is the Rosh, the head. And you see it. So the house carrying all the facets right here. Rosh, Zerampin, and the Nukva. You'll see it also because the value is 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 10 is 22, which is Aleph Tav. By the words of his mouth, he created the heavens and the earth. Everything is created from Aleph to Tav. Okay? The Katan value, 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1, is 13. And 13 is Echad. And we know that the Aleph is 1 and alludes to the Keter. The Chet is Chesed, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gevuret, Tiferes, Netzachot, and Yesod, which are 8 Sefirot. The value of Chet is 8. And the Dalet, again, is the Nukva. So it's a full tree. The body is a full tree. That's what it's saying. We see that in the information already. The body is a full tree. Now, but we have to be careful because flesh, we saw basar, right? But flesh, for the F, a F, a lamet for the L, iron for the E, and a shin for the SH, values 480, which is the value of Lilith. And we find in the spirit also a value of Lilith. When we take the letters Fe and Resh, which mean bull, judgment, left side, 280, which is the value of Sandalphon also. That leaves us then with Samech, Vav, Samech, Yud, Yud, Tav, which is also 480. So, bulls, Sandalphon, and Lilith. That's terrifying, Sandalphon and Lilith. Okay, so we treated this. This is hopefully clear. So now we'll go a little bit more to this side. So I already gave you the first permutation there, right? Par is in there. There's cycles. The Fe is Yisod. We have again spirit, but we have two spirits, right? And the word itself is spirit. Now, spirit alludes then to Zerampin, right? Center point Tiferes, but it projects everything, gathers in Yisod and projects through Yisod onto the Malchut, the Nukva. Okay, so that being said, we have another permutation. It looks like Sefirot, right, also. It misses the Vav, and then it has an additional Yud, which is 10 Sefirot. Because each Sephira has 10 sub-Sefirot, okay? So all these Sefirot have 10 sub-Sefirot. So there's a little information also. Samech Vav Reish, Sir, and Pit. Pit, because Pit, this is the Pit, Yisod, already spoke about it. The Bor, it's called Bor, Pit. Fallen into the pit. The fall, the Bor. Okay, so 270, and 270 is the value of evil, right? Ra. Evil in the pit. Okay, so these are dangers, mentioned dangers there. The Milui, and then the pregnant letters of the Milui, Samech, other one, P, Yud, Resh, Yud, and Tav. So then the pregnant letters would be Mem Kaf is 60, Hey is 5, Vav Dalet is 10, Shin Yud is 310, Vav Dalet is 10, and 6. So 6 plus 10, 16, 326, 336, 341, 401. 401. So that's 401. Already says it. I did the milui. -1, okay? So for the spirit itself. So that's the value of Malchut. And Malchut, because not the Gematria value of Malchut, but whenever you see 400, like 400 shekels, it alludes to Malchut, okay? So that was the Milui, and that's the Ruach that's supposed to bestow instead of spill its seed. Okay, so we have another ordinal here. Okay, the ordinal was 86 thereof. Just I recalculated it many times. Same for the katan. Is 41, and 41 is the value of Elohim, just like 86 is the gematria of Elohim. The ordinal of Elohim is 41, and the ordinal of Samael is 41. Okay, and then very interesting. Yud Taf Samech is 470. And 470 always hints at Ein Taf, which is Da'as. But what kind of Da'as? Because there's also the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, right? So the Etzadas Toivira. So what kind of knowledge? And then that leaves us with the letters Fe, Resh, Yud, which means fruit. So the fruit of what knowledge? What kind of knowledge do you and no man to till the ground? So what kind of fruit are you bearing, right? Are you in a closed system? Serpent voice, your own cycles, right? That's why you see a lot of cycle, right? The cycle to the spirit, cycle to the soul, because you can be captured in a cycle where you're believing that your voice is a godly voice, which is actually your serpent speaking to you, which is born through the amalgamation of the sum of all experiences, right? So let's see, what else have we got? The triangular expansion, and that is when you start with the S, then S Fe, S Fe Yud, S Fe Yud Resh, S Fe Yud, S Fe Yud Resh Yud, S Fe Yud Resh Yud Taf. Calculated it various times in order to not make the video too lengthy, because we have a lot. I will not triangularize it out writing. It is 1820, which is the tenfold of 182. 182 is the value of Yaakov, right? Yaakov, and Yaakov is situated in Tiferes, and Tiferes is written Torah also, and then here should be the oral Torah, and we'll read a little bit of Likkutei Yirah now when I finish here, okay? A certain matter that I want to discuss. So Tiferes, Yaakov, and that's 7 times 26, 7 times the name of Hashem. So that's Yud He Vav He in all these. So that's a potential that's in there, right? We find the potential in the triangle. It can, and this means an emanation. So what could emanate from the spirit, from the Ruach, is when we use this Merkava, it's called the wagon Merkava, and we make the choices to use this to serve the king, okay? To serve the king and not serve our own ego and our own desires and emotion form and all these useless forms that don't serve reality or serve the king, but create a false deity, which is the real idolatry, right? This is the real idolatry, and this is Pharaoh, and this is all these things you read about are not historical stories. They are actual. They show you are in the desert, you are in the dryness, you need revival, and so on and so forth. So What else did I have here? So 7 times 26 is 182, and the tenfold thereof. Now the ordinal value of the triangle was, we had a 316 here, Yetzirah. Here we have a 317, which is housed in Yetzirah, or Ish Vav, so man of Zerampin, and a man Ish to till the ground, right? It's not Adam, but it's Ish. Ein Ish was found is also written somewhere. So, yes. So I think we're starting to get a certain picture of what is going on. We'll proceed here, but first let's go to Likkutei Yirah 9. So, part 3, the Mother's Torah. The world of Bina, the 8 Sefirot, is called Beria. As in the verse Genesis 1:1, Elohim bara, Elohim created. The Arizal states in Apples from the Orchard, created in example, bara, refers to Beria. It is called Mother's Torah, as it is written, do not forsake your Mother's Torah. And also for your transgressions your mother was put away, and also the small garment his mother made him. Because it is written 7 days under the mother, on the 8th day a fire offering to Hashem. And again, on the 8th day, Bina, they will be circumcised, as in circumcision is the mother's Torah. It is also written, where is the bill of your mother's divorce? This is because she alone is your wife, and of her it is written in the Zohar, when you are as nothing and have lost all hope, who, me, Bina, will save you. For the mother's Torah is called Who. And of this it is written, lift up your eyes and see who, me, mother's Torah, created these. In example, the lower 7. It is written, honor your mother, and also a foolish son is the grief of his mother, and the mother's Torah is the only way to see the Shekhinah, as it is written in Zohar, book 1, let us make man, part 2. Furthermore, the Torah of Beria is the clothing of the Shekhinah. This means that there is no perception of the Shekhinah divine dwelling without the Torah of Beria, which is called the Mother's Torah. It is called the garden and is after the following manner: tree fruit containing seed containing tree. Okay, so, and then the Yirah starts discussing the 50th gates, which passed by also. Now you read it, because the 8th day, on the 8th day, a fire offering to Hashem. Now these are the 7 days under the mother, the animal forms, right? It's not about physical animals, it's about our forms. Het is Gesed Gevoerd, je vers net zo gooit, je zooid en maal goed. 7 days under the mother, Bina. On the 8th day, right? This is Bina, the 8th day, counting upwards, a fire offering to Hashem. So that's the real oila, that's the ascension, that's the Brit, that's the covenant, that's the circumcision. And that means, and that goes about by uniting oral Kabbalah and written Torah. Because one is not allowed to interpret the Torah in the literal sense. It's not stories, mundane stories about things that happened. It's actual, and it requires study of the oral Torah and the unification of the two. That's the Mother's Torah. And that's when we unite Ruach and Nefesh. Okay? Now, we're getting to the next part. So we saw here the Tal, Echia, and Eloheinu. Now, the soul, funny enough, I'll just give it to you straight ahead, has the exact same Gematria, even though they're completely different letters. They don't need to have, but they have the same values, exact same values, simply because it's telling us something. So it has the 102, the 39 Tal, and it has the Echia. All of it equal to human. So the human and the soul, okay? But remember, you are not your soul, you are not your spirit, you are not your body, okay? You are the choice and you are the awareness that acts upon these traits, right? This merkava and these traits you have. Okay, so 7 royal houses of idolatry. Yes, these 6 I hate, these 7 are an abomination, says Hashem. So, okay, so nefesh, let's look a little bit further. But remember, when we speak of soul in the Western world, this is not merely nefesh, it's the whole bunch, because there's no understanding. The first 3 letters, samech, cycle of the 2 sides of Zerampin, because there's 6. The Vav value 6, and there's 2 6s, which means each sephira has 2 sides. And it's clearly taught in Likkutei. I will get it for you. Yirah Toiv, Yirah Ha'ari. Fronts and backs of the houses of idolatry. So you see that in here, right? The soul. Nefesh, because nefesh now speaks of the totality of soul, so it can be many things, right? But clearly we see the 2 vavs, which again, even though for us when we say nefesh, it's here and ruach is there, but when you read in the Goyische word soul, then it speaks about nefesh, ruach, neshama. I'm not sure if I can include neshama, but I didn't find any links to it. But the value here of the cycles of these 2 sides, so a cycle, is 72, which is the value of Ayin base, right? Av, which is the 72 name. Because, and then it leaves us with the Lamed, which is a staff, which is authority. The authority of really comes from Av, of course. Av is the higher authority, even though we're closed in the system, we cannot perceive him because we do not manifest him, but there is nothing else but divinity. So it is there, we just isolate ourselves from it. And then you'll see what is to our knowledge more familiar would be the last 3 letters, which is the 2 which is when we give authority to the staff, to these forms, to this serpent voice, then the authority would be Ima, because the 6 plus 3 is 42. And Ima is also Elohim, and Elohim is also Samael, right? So judgment shall be, you will be held accountable. And that's Ima's job. Okay, Samael, Elohim does that. So when the authority becomes the 2 Vavs, then it's judgment. But when we align and we become that man, a man is a tree. When we connect to the upper and when we get in the service and in a relationship devoted to holiness, we are anything except for holy. Because of these forms also, but there is holiness and there is only holiness in reality. If we start to serve that and dedicate ourselves to that, then we recognize, we acknowledge the authority, Lamed, of 72. Samech 60 plus 6 plus 6 is 72. So, Tal can be a good thing in that case. Tal can be a very bad thing. 39 whiplashes, stick beatings, metaphorically. So, if we do the Milui, Samech, Vav, Vav, Lamed, we get 220, which is tenfold Aleph Tav, because everything is created by the letters, right? We already seen it. The triangular expansion was 300, which is Ruach Elohim. Again, Elohim, Ima, it's full of it. I have put like only a part on there. There was so much. So Ruach Elohim. It's also Shin, fire, which is that, right? If you become on the altar a fire offering on the 8th day to Hashem, Now, if we take the kuzu and the atbash cipher, the word transforms into these two combinations. And then you see a weapon, but you see two eyes and a spirit. And then you see a fence and you see two mouths that carry. So really there's two eyes and two mouths. With what eyes do you look? Do you see? Do you look with physical eyes, or do you look in that sense? Do you speak with a physical mouth, right? Do you project Fey, Yisod, spill your seed, which can be verbally or writing or whatever your actions are, if they're filled with the ego and the self instead of with serving divinity, then it's one Fey. But if you do it in the right way and for the right reasons, selflessly, and then it becomes another Fey. So there's two kinds of eyes, two kinds of mouths. That's what I see in there. So I thought that was an interesting combination of words. I had that from Job, Job 12:10. And I want to leave it at that for now. So, yes, full tree. That should be the dedication, starting with that fire offering to Hashem, offer, sacrifice your animal forms. Okay? Your animal forms. Okay, so many blessings till the next video. Shalom.